Good afternoon. This is All India Radio. I'm Abhishek Mukhopadhyay and with me is Renu Kataria with the Midday News. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi stresses on constant innovation and dynamic methods to deal with COVID-19 as the virus is continuously changing its form. Prime Minister interacts with district officials of 10 states, asks them to evaluate data to formalize better strategies for upcoming challenges. Over 18 crore 70 lakh COVID vaccine doses administered in the country so far. National recovery rate of COVID-19 improves to 86.74%. Over 2,76,000 new cases reported in the last 24 hours. Indian Navy recovers mortal remains of 37 workers from barge P305. 188 survivors rescued, 38 still missing. Principal Scientific Advisor issues easy-to-follow guidelines to reduce the spread of coronavirus. Gujarat Chief Minister announces compensation of 4 lakh rupees each to the kin of those who died in the cyclonic storm Taute. National Crisis Management Committee meets to review the relief and restoration efforts after Taute. Odisha government asks district collectors to remain prepared in view of low pressure area developing in Bay of Bengal. Delhi receives highest ever rainfall since 1951 in the month of May under the impact of cyclonic storm Taute. And LDF government led by Pinarayi Vijayan is all set for swearing in ceremony this afternoon. As the number of COVID cases is on the rise, we appeal to our listeners not to lower the guard, take all precautions, and all those above 45 years who have taken the first dose of COVID-19 vaccine to get vaccinated with the second dose at the scheduled time. Stay safe and protected by following these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has stressed on constant innovation and adoption of dynamic methods and strategies to effectively deal with the challenges posed by the COVID-19 pandemic. He said this virus is continuously changing its form and the scientists are working to deal with the mutant virus. The Prime Minister interacted with the district officials of the 10 states on the COVID-19 situation today.
कोरोना के इस काल ने आपके काम को पहले से कहीं अधिक चैलेंजिंग और डिमांडिंग बना दिया है। महामारी जैसी आपदा के सामने सबसे ज्यादा अहमियत हमारी संवेदनशीलता और हमारे हौसले की ही होती है। इसी भावना से आपको जन जन तक पहुंचकर जैसे काम कर रहे हैं उसको और अधिक ताकत से और अधिक बड़े पैमाने पर करते ही रहना है।
Mr. Modi has said amid the second wave of coronavirus, mutant virus is posing a concern for the adult and children. He asked the state administration and district officials to prepare for this challenge by evaluating the data related to seriousness of this infectious disease. He said this will help in formalizing the better strategies for the upcoming challenges. Highlighting the need to avoid wastage of COVID vaccine, Mr. Modi said, wastage of a single dose of vaccine means not being able to provide the necessary protective cover to one life. He said the government is continuously engaged in maintaining the supply of the vaccine. He said Union Health Ministry is providing the information for the availability of the 15 days stock of vaccines to the states and union territories.
टीकाकरण की रणनीति में भी हर स्तर पर राज्यों और अनेक स्टेक होल्डर से मिलने वाले सुझावों को शामिल करके आगे बढ़ाया जा रहा है। इसी क्रम में स्वास्थ्य मंत्रालय की तरफ से 15 दिन के टीकों की उपलब्धता की जानकारी राज्यों को दी जा रही है। वैक्सीन सप्लाई टाइमलाइन की स्पष्टता होने से टीकाकरण से जुड़े मैनेजमेंट में आप सभी को और आसानी होने वाली है।
Stressing on the implementation of the COVID-appropriate behavior, the Prime Minister said, adoption of such behavior is a major tool in the fight against the COVID-19.
COVID-appropriate behavior जैसे मास्क पहनना, हाथ धुलना, जब इनमें कोई कमी नहीं आती, आपके जिलों में, आपके जिलों के बाजारों में, गांवों में कम से कम होने के बाद भी लोग सभी दिशा निर्देशों का पालन करते हैं, तो ये कोरोना से लड़ाई में बहुत मदद करता है।
Appreciating the role of the district officials in the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic, the Prime Minister said, works done at the field level and the experiences and feedbacks shared by the district officials will help in making the practical and effective policies.
गांवों में कोरोना टेस्ट की सुविधा अधिक से अधिक लोगों तक पहुंचाने के लिए मोबाइल वैन का तरीका कई लोगों ने अपनाया है। स्कूलों, पंचायत भवनों को कोविड केयर सेंटर्स में परिवर्तित करने का कुछ लोगों ने इनिशिएटिव लिया है। आप लोग खुद गांव-गांव जाते हैं, वहां की व्यवस्थाओं की निगरानी करते हैं, आप ग्रामीणों से बात करते हैं, तो इससे जो वहां का सामान्य नागरिक है या वहां के गांव के जो लीडर लोग हैं, उनको जब शंकाओं का समाधान होता है और डायरेक्टली आपके साथ जुड़ते हैं, तो उनका आत्मविश्वास अनेक गुना बढ़ जाता है।
The Prime Minister said that a priority is also to keep life easy along with saving lives. He said there should be facilities for free ration for the poor and other essential supplies.
Over 18 crore 70 lakh COVID vaccine doses have been administered to the beneficiaries so far. The Health and Family Welfare Ministry has said that over 11 lakh 66,000 vaccine doses were administered to the beneficiaries in the last 24 hours. India had launched the world's largest vaccination drive on 16th January this year. Meanwhile, amid the second wave of COVID-19 pandemic, country is witnessing a declining trend in the active number of corona cases. With this, the recovery rate is continuously improving. However, some states and union territories are still registering a spike in the fresh cases. The active cases comprise 12.14% of the cumulative positive cases. It said there are over 31,29,000 active cases in the country at present. As the country is registering over 3 lakh recoveries daily from last few days, the recovery rate has further improved to 86.74%. The Health Ministry said over 3,69,000 patients have recovered from this infectious disease within 24 hours. Over 2,76,000 new COVID cases were registered during the last 24 hours. The Health Ministry said a total of 3,874 deaths were reported in the country in the same period. Indian Council of Medical Research has said that over 20,55,000 COVID tests were conducted in the previous day. The National Crisis Management Committee (NCMC) today met under the chairmanship of Cabinet Secretary Rajiv Gauba. They reviewed the relief and restoration efforts made by the state governments and UT administrations in the aftermath of cyclonic storm Taute. Chief Secretaries of States apprised the committee of the damages to infrastructure, crops and loss of life in the affected areas. They also briefed about the measures taken by them to restore telecom, power, roads, water supply and other utilities. Due to advance and timely action taken by all agencies, functioning of hospitals and COVID care centres in the affected areas remain unaffected. The meeting was attended by the Chief Secretaries and officials of Gujarat, Maharashtra, Karnataka, Goa, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, along with advisors to administrators of Lakshadweep and Dadar and Nagar Haveli, Daman and Diu. Secretaries and officers from Ministries of Home Affairs, Shipping, Telecommunications, Petroleum and Natural Gas, Power, Health, Food and Public Distribution, Drinking Water and Sanitation took part in the meeting. Member Secretary, NDMA, DG, NDRF, DG, IMD and DG, Coast Guard also participated in the meet.
The Office of the Principal Scientific Advisor to the Central Government has issued a simple, easy-to-follow guidelines to stop the transmission, crush the pandemic, masks, distance, sanitation and ventilation to prevent the spread of SARS-CoV-2 virus. In a media statement, Principal Scientific Advisor K. Vijay Raghavan has emphasized on following simple tools and practices to reduce the spread of coronavirus. The advisory issued today lays special emphasis on stopping the transmission and crushing the pandemic. It highlights the important role of well-ventilated spaces play in diluting the viral load of infected air. Introducing outdoor air and primarily cross-ventilation in offices, homes and larger public spaces has been advised as per the guideline. For buildings with central air management systems, improving central air filtration and increased filtration efficiency has been defined as extremely helpful. In offices, auditoriums, shopping malls and other such places, use of gable fan systems and roof ventilators have been recommended. The advisory also stresses on continued usage of double masks or N95 masks. In Jharkhand, the state government is geared up to deal with a possible third wave of COVID-19. Arun Kumar Singh, Additional Chief Secretary, Health Department, in a recent meeting conducted with pediatricians, has laid emphasis to create COVID wards children aged below 12 years in all districts of the state. More from a correspondent.
Recovery rate has impressively risen to 89.62% with 4,528 recoveries in the last 24 hours. Chief Minister Hemant Soren said that the state government has already started efforts to fight the possible third wave of COVID-19. The state government has also started creating special COVID wards for children of less than 12 years of age in every district to reduce the risk of infection which is likely to affect children in the possible third wave. The appointment of pediatricians is also on the cards to focus upon the health of children and newborns. Shilpi, AIR News, Ranchi.
A startup incubated at the Society for Innovation and Development in Indian Institute of Science of Bengaluru has developed a first of its kind semi-quantitative electrochemical ELISA test for detecting COVID-19 virus. The startup, Path Shodh, has received the license to manufacture the test device from the Central Drug Standard Control Organization and validated by the Translational Health Science and Technology Institute of Faridabad as per ICMR guidelines. More from our correspondent.
The technology developed by the startup Path Shodh is patented in the US and India. In this device, the test results are automatically displayed on the handheld reader that has onboard memory to store more than 1 lakh real-time test results. It has a touch screen display, rechargeable battery, Bluetooth connectivity to smartphone with cloud storage and capabilities to map the patient data to Aadhaar number and connect test data to Arogya Setu app. The Dean at the Division of Interdisciplinary Sciences and Professor at Center for Nanoscience and Engineering in IISc says that this new technology will play a big role in elucidating seroconversion response to COVID-19 vaccine and hence play a supporting role in our vaccination program. Sudhindra, AIR News, Bengaluru.
Professor Manindra Agarwal of Indian Institute of Technology, Kanpur, is studying the spread of COVID in the country and making predictions based on their mathematical model called Sutra. Talking with AIR News, Professor Manindra Agarwal said that although new cases are decreasing day by day in the country, but in few states the peak of COVID is yet to come.
हमारा मॉडल कह रहा है तमिलनाडु के लिए उसके अनुसार पीक इस महीने के अंत में किसी समय आने की संभावना है। आंध्र प्रदेश में पीक हमारा अंदाज है कि बस आने ही वाली है, जबकि पश्चिम बंगाल में अभी हमारा मॉडल पीक से पकड़ नहीं पा रहा है क्योंकि वहां पे मई के शुरू में जिसको हम कहते हैं कि फेज चेंज हुआ है कि उसमें जो गतिविधियां थी वहां के पैरामीटर्स जो हमारे मॉडल के थे उनकी वैल्यू बदल रही है। तो जब तक वो बदल के नई वैल्यू पे स्टेबल नहीं होगी तब तक हम पीक से प्रेडिक्ट नहीं कर पाएंगे।
The number of new COVID patients is decreasing day by day, but the question is that, is it really over? To get the answer to this and many other questions, you can listen to the full interview of Dr. Manindra Agarwal in our special program, Surkhiyon Mein at 7:40 to 7:50 p.m. this evening.
In Madhya Pradesh, Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan stressed the need for area-specific strategy to end corona and said that all efforts should be made to eliminate corona infection in the state by the 31st of May so that life can gradually get back to normal. State on Wednesday reported 5,065 new positive cases and 88 deaths, while 10,337 patients were recovered from infection. More from a Bhopal correspondent.
Corona infection is rapidly declining in the state. The active cases in the state stands at 77,607, while the positivity rate in the state declined to 6.9%. More than 200 new cases have been reported in 3 districts of Indore, Bhopal and Jabalpur. 21,495 patients of COVID are being treated free of cost under the Mukhyamantri COVID Upchar Yojana. The government has spent more than Rs 6 crore on the treatment of patients under the scheme till now. Pooja Pivardhan, AIR News, Bhopal.
More than 1 crore RT-PCR tests have been done in Rajasthan so far. The number of active patients has declined about 65,000 in the last 7 days. 9,849 new persons tested positive yesterday, while more than 16,000 people were recovered. Our correspondent reports that the villagers are now becoming aware to prevent the spread of COVID infection in the villages. The villagers are playing an important role in containing the COVID infection by taking the initiatives in several villages of the state.
In Chhattisgarh, various institutions and social organizations have stepped up their efforts to deal with the corona crisis. Besides, several innovative efforts are being made in the state to make people aware of measures to prevent corona infection and to motivate them for the vaccination. More from our correspondent.
World Health Organization has provided 150 oxygen concentrators to Chhattisgarh. State Health Minister T.S. Singh thanked the organization for this help. Besides, 500 oximeters have been provided to Raipur district by Azim Premji Foundation. Meanwhile, in view of the increasing number of corona patients in Balaod, the district administration has set up a COVID center with 42 beds. In Durg district, the teachers have started a campaign for Annidan. Under this, ration material has been provided to more than 100 needy families in Kondagaon district. A public awareness campaign is being conducted to motivate people for the vaccination. Vikalp Shukla, AIR News, Raipur.
Enforcement Directorate ED has registered a money laundering case against businessman Navneet Kalra. He is accused in a case relating to the alleged hoarding of oxygen concentrators in South Delhi restaurants. The ED said it has registered an enforcement case information report on the basis of FIR registered by Delhi Police against Kalra.
Delhi government has decided to set up dedicated treatment centers to deal with the growing cases of antifungal infection, mycorrhizasis known as black fungus. These treatment centers will be set up in Lok Nayak Jai Prakash Narayan Hospital, Guru Tegh Bahadur Hospital and Rajiv Gandhi Hospital. Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal today said an important meeting with officials and experts was held on the growing cases of black fungus disease. Mr. Kejriwal has stressed on curbing the spread of this disease by providing better treatment to the patients. He said in addition to setting up the treatment centers, adequate arrangement of medicines will be made for the better treatment. Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin began vaccination for 18+ category at Tirupur Netaji Apparel Park today. He began his 2-day whirlwind visit to Salem, Tirupur, Coimbatore, Tiruchi and Madurai this morning. The state received 1 lakh Covishield vaccines yesterday and has more than 10 lakh doses of vaccines in stock. More from a correspondent.
Earlier in the day, the Chief Minister visited Salem's stainless steel plant and inaugurated a 500-bed with oxygen facilities at the special COVID care center. The hospital was set up in 10 days after the government decided to add more oxygen bed facilities throughout the state. Already, the government hospital in the district have 1,583 beds and private hospitals have 2,770 beds. The district has a monitoring team comprising of 354 members in 177 places to coordinate COVID special care. Stalin also visited an upgraded primary health center on the way. He will have a review meeting at Coimbatore and later in the day will depart to Madurai. Joy, AIR News, Chennai.
Hindi poet Yashpal Yash says, though challenges posed by COVID pandemic is huge, but human spirit still remains undeterred. Let us listen into a part of his poem.
कोरोना का अपना बल है तो अपना भी एक संबल है। अगर शत्रु है घात लगाए तो फिर करनी हमें पहल है। एक सजग प्रहरी की भांति आहट पाए संभलना होगा, कदम मिलाकर चलना होगा। मास्क लगाएं, रखें दूरी, बस कुछ दिन की यह मजबूरी। साफ सफाई, हाथ धुलाई, टीका भी है बहुत जरूरी। और जब तक ना एकदम आवश्यक घर से नहीं निकलना होगा, कदम मिलाकर चलना होगा।
You are listening to the Midday News on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi stresses on constant innovation and dynamic methods to deal with COVID-19 as the virus is continuously changing its form. Prime Minister interacts with district officials of 10 states, asks them to evaluate data to formalize better strategies for upcoming challenges. Over 18 crore 70 lakh COVID vaccine doses administered in the country so far. National recovery rate of COVID-19 improves to 86.74%, over 2,76,000 new cases reported in the last 24 hours. Indian Navy recovers mortal remains of 37 workers from barge P305, 188 survivors rescued, 38 still missing. Principal Scientific Advisor issues easy-to-follow guidelines to reduce the spread of coronavirus. Gujarat Chief Minister announces compensation of 4 lakh rupee each to the kin of those who died in cyclonic storm Taukte. National Crisis Management Committee meets to review the relief and restoration efforts. Odisha government asked district collectors to remain prepared in view of low-pressure area developing in Bay of Bengal. Delhi receives highest ever rainfall since 1951 in the month of May under the impact of cyclonic storm. An LDF government led by Pinarayi Vijayan is all set for swearing-in ceremony this afternoon. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts. चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो खुद से वादा करते हैं, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Midday News. Gujarat Chief Minister Vijay Rupani has announced cash compensation of 4 lakh rupees to the kin of those who lost their lives in the cyclonic storm Taukte. He also announced 50,000 rupees to those injured in the cyclonic storm. This was announced after the state-level core committee meeting held in Gandhinagar last evening. More from our Ahmedabad correspondent.
The case assistance announced by the Gujarat government will be in addition to rupees 2 lakh compensation announced by the Prime Minister yesterday. Thus, the kin of each deceased will get total 6 lakh rupees, while injured will get rupees 1 lakh. State government has also announced cash doles for the affected people. Meanwhile, the relief and restoration work are in full swing following improvement in the weather. Traffic on 1,100 roads has been restored out of 1,200 roads closed due to cyclonic storm. Power supply in most of the COVID hospitals in the affected areas has been restored. The vaccination drive stopped due to cyclonic storm also restarts from today. Yogesh Pandya, AIR News, Ahmedabad.
Indian Navy has recovered the mortal remains of 37 persons so far from barge P305. 188 survivors are rescued and 38 are still missing. Accommodation barge P305 went adrift around 4 days ago due to the cyclone Taukte. Mumbai's defence spokesperson has informed that INS Kolkata arrived in Mumbai last night and disembarking survivors and mortal remains. INS Kochi has rejoined search and rescue operation, and search for missing crew members of barge P305 is going on. Coast Guard units have also joined search and rescue operations.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has announced a 1,000 crore rupee relief package for the cyclone-hit areas of Gujarat. The package has been given for the rehabilitation work in the areas devastated by the extremely severe cyclonic storm. According to sources, the centre will also send inter-ministerial team to assess the loss due to cyclonic storm. The Prime Minister has also announced an ex gratia cash compensation of 2 lakh rupees each to the next of the kin of those who lost their lives due to cyclone Taukte in all the affected states. Odisha government has asked district collectors to remain prepared for the likely formation of a low-pressure area in the Bay of Bengal. Basing on the preliminary inputs from the Indian Meteorological Department, the state government has ordered advanced preparedness with manpower and machines in position to tackle any cyclone-related eventualities. More from our correspondent.
According to the Bhubaneswar-based Meteorological Center, the low-pressure area likely to form around 22nd of May near the North Andaman Sea and East Central Bay of Bengal may take the shape of a cyclonic storm by the 25th of this month. It has also been forecast that the cyclonic storm may then move in the northwest direction with the likelihood of hitting the West Bengal-Odisha coast by 26th of this month. In view of these, the state government is already in touch with the Indian Meteorological Department for cyclone preparedness. Though the exact intensity, speed, shape and direction of the probable cyclonic storm are yet to be definitively ascertained, the Special Relief Commissioner of the state has advised the collectors, especially of the coastal districts, to stay prepared while asking the fishermen out in the sea to get back to the shore by the 22nd evening. Girish Chandradas, AIR News, Bhubaneswar.
Delhi has received the highest ever rainfall since 1951 in the month of May under the impact of cyclonic storm Taukte. Indian Meteorological Department IMD has said a record 119.3 millimeters rainfall has been recorded in the national capital in the last 24 hours. The department has said earlier the highest rainfall of 60 millimeters in a day was recorded on 24th May 1976. The city has also recorded a maximum temperature of 23.8 degrees Celsius yesterday, 16 notches below normal and the lowest in the month of May since 1951. IMD has forecast that rainfall activities are very likely to decrease today and scattered to fairly widespread rainfall in the capital. In Kerala, the Left Democratic Front government led by Pinarayi Vijayan is all set for its second consecutive innings as the swearing-in ceremony of the 21-member cabinet will take place this afternoon. More from a correspondent.
The swearing-in ceremony will take place at the Central Stadium in Thiruvananthapuram at 3:30 in the evening. Governor Arif Muhammad Khan will be administering the oath of office to the new ministers. Due to COVID constraints, the ceremony will take place with a restricted number of less than 500 selected invitees, strictly adhering to the COVID guidelines. Of the 21 ministers in the cabinet, 17 are freshers. Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan will be in charge of Home Affairs, IT and Public Governance. Veena George, a former journalist, will replace K.K. Shailaja as the new Health Minister, and K.N. Balagopal will be the new Finance Minister. On account of the pandemic, the opposition parties will attend the swearing-in ceremony virtually and had conveyed their wishes to the new team. As the new government take charge, this day marks history in Kerala as the ruling Left Democratic Front retains power, breaking the 4-decade-old convention of LDF and UDF alternating the power in the state. Mayusha for AR News from Thiruvananthapuram.
President Ram Nath Kovind, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu and Prime Minister Narendra Modi have expressed grief over the demise of former Chief Minister of Rajasthan, Jagannath Pahadia. Mr. Kovind said in a tweet that Mr. Pahadia was the voice of the underprivileged, popular public servant and skilled administrator. The President said Mr. Pahadia also made a distinctive contribution in nation building as the Governor and Union Minister. The Vice President said in a tweet, in his glorious public life, Mr. Pahadia discharged the constitutional obligations of the Governor and the Union Minister with full devotion and dignity. In a tweet, Mr. Modi said, in his long political and administrative career, Jagannath Pahadia made noteworthy contributions to further social empowerment.
Now let us take a look at the weather forecast for the day. The national capital Delhi is witnessing generally cloudy sky with light rain or drizzle. In Mumbai, the minimum temperature was 26 degrees Celsius, while the maximum is expected to be 34 degrees. Chennai is having generally cloudy sky with light rain or drizzle. In Kolkata, the minimum temperature was 27 degrees Celsius and the maximum will go up to 38 degrees. Jammu is having partly cloudy sky with possibility of rain or thunderstorm or dust storm. Minimum temperature was 21 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be around 38 degrees. Srinagar has a partly cloudy sky today with possibility of rain or thunderstorm or dust storm. The temperature hovers between 12 and 25 degrees Celsius. Leh is having generally cloudy sky with minimum and maximum temperature hovering between 5 and 17 degrees Celsius. Gilgit has generally cloudy sky with possibility of rain or thunderstorm or dust storm. The temperature is hovering between 16 and 28 degrees Celsius. Muzaffarabad is having mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. Minimum temperature was 17 degrees Celsius and the maximum will be around 34 degrees. And Dehradun has a generally cloudy sky with heavy rain. And now, before I end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi stresses on constant innovation and dynamic methods to deal with COVID-19 as the virus is continuously changing its form. Prime Minister interacts with district officials of 10 states, asks them to evaluate data to formalize better strategies for upcoming challenges. Over 18 crore 70 lakh COVID vaccine doses administered in the country so far. National recovery rate of COVID-19 improves to 86.74%. Over 2,76,000 new cases reported in the last 24 hours. Indian Navy recovers mortal remains of 37 workers from barge P305. 188 survivors rescued, 38 still missing. Principal Scientific Advisor issues easy-to-follow guidelines to reduce the spread of coronavirus. Gujarat Chief Minister announces compensation of 4 lakh rupees each to the kin of those who died in cyclonic storm Taute. National Crisis Management Committee meets to review the relief and restoration efforts. Odisha government asks district collectors to remain prepared in view of low pressure area developing in Bay of Bengal. Delhi receives highest ever rainfall since 1951 in the month of May under the impact of cyclonic storm. And LDF government led by Pinarayi Vijayan is all set for swearing in ceremony this afternoon. And with that we end the midday news.